Hello, my name is Hal Von Nessen. My company is RESH Marketing, which I founded in 1979, a little over 32 years ago. I've been involved in marketing for housing, the housing industry, builders and developers, since, I guess, the late 80s. And have been involved with the NAHB doing a number of things for them. As I said, my company is RESH Marketing. We've been around since 1979, are involved in a number of different things. One of the components of my business that I think makes me a little different from a lot of other consultants is that we actually do have a full-time staff that is charged with supporting me. Teresa is the production manager who makes sure that everything is scheduled appropriately, done appropriately. Once everything is completed, Laurie is the person who takes care of the accounting, paying our bills and billing our clients. John does account service. My son Joey joined us a couple of years ago doing research, and of course Dalvin's been with me for about 8 years doing all the art direction and creative work that we do. We have an office in Columbia at 22 Surrey Court, so we feel as though we're small enough to expand when needed. We use freelance and trade contractors when needed, but I have enough of a key core in place to make sure that we can respond appropriately and effectively to the needs of our clients. There are a number of things that we are involved in doing, and like many other marketing firms or advertising agencies, and actually an advertising agency is where we started, we do a number of things other than just plain advertising, the typical type things. I like to make the claim that we can do feasibility studies. You know, there's a piece of dirt, what do I do with it, up to the point of taking a contract. We don't, however, have a real estate company, and we do not write contracts, just do all the support work up until we get to that point. Over the past several years, we have accumulated relationships, both project type accounts and then sustaining type of accounts all across the country. And the advantage that this provides to us is that we can bring back experiences that we have had in other markets and apply them to the market that any specific client happens to be operating in. And we've learned also to work in a distance type situation. 3-4 years ago, our largest account was out in Denver, Colorado, with a developer that was located out of San Diego. So we do know how to use the electronic media as a communications tool to make it more efficient to do what it is that we try to do. And we are involved in a number of different activities. Public relations is an underused element of the communications process, and we can prepare a full public relations plan for our clients and execute on it. I think that the important thing about public relations is it's just not telling people what we've done, but establishing a program such as the one you see here, the Academic All-Stars program, that allows our clients to differentiate their product and hopefully sell more homes because of it. Other work that we do, and I'll just run through these as briefly as I can, logo type work, we do web design, and I think the point needs to be made here that everything that I'm showing to you here is done in-house by my staff. We do use trade contractors when needed, but prefer to minimize that because we can control the productive output and the time it takes to complete a task by keeping the majority of the work in-house. Illustration work, everyone needs that. There are variations to it that need to be done, but we perform that in-house. Print advertising, while it's not as important as it once was, say 3-4 years ago, it still has a place in the marketplace depending upon the demographic that you're trying to reach. In addition to individual print ads, we also do campaign type work. Campaigns are designed for dissimilar locations or dissimilar products prepared and produced by one organization, and campaigns in a sense help build the brand to diversify the overall company that's offering the product. So campaigns have to have a relationship, but they also have to promote individual items within that campaign. We do direct mail. Currently we're using a lot of variable printing, which is analogous to the search and replace or the variation of names and addresses that we've used before in word processing programs. Only now we can not only do graphics, that is the type, but we can also do photographic images and make them individualized. If we're doing about 2,500 pieces, we can set up a database so that each individual piece may be modified for the individual recipient. 2,500 is the magic number around which the cost is approximately the same as it would be for a traditional mailing piece. Also do collateral work, simple stuff like you see on the top left here. The more complicated pieces where we have a pocket folder, maps, small brochures, other literature that falls in there. We also do a CD that went into this one as well. Elevations, we do all of these in-house. We have the capability of doing photorealistic elevations for you, or develop an elevation style that you would have just for your organization. These can be done from two-dimensional black lines, CAD files, virtually anything that you have. For that matter, we could take a photograph and develop them. Signage takes the form of the signage that you enter a development. It could be the monuments that go out front of a sales center, the locational type medallion that you see here for Killian Station, or outdoor. Signage has certain characteristics that are required, but we are capable of executing on any of them. We also do sales centers, and you see some of the traditional forms here. However, we have modified that and are currently offering touchscreen television systems. That is a self-contained computer system where we reduce all of the sales materials to electronic files, put them on a touchscreen system so that the sales agent can actually use their finger and do the walking through the sales pitch. Or if you have a client that comes in, they can also just touch the screen and visually go through the different offerings in the sales presentation, the CPM type critical path method sales approach. It can be done for multiple communities, multiple builders. There's a great deal of flexibility with this system. You're virtually limited only by your imagination. A very, very useful new tool that we have. They can be applied in they can be applied in as large as you want it, but generally about 40 inches is what we recommend for a sales center. They can go down to as small as 28 inches, and the same system can be adapted to various tablets. We are not terribly, although we are a Mac shop, we're not terribly enthusiastic about the iPad because the different programs that the iPad has excluded make it a little bit more difficult to do some of the presentations that we have done, although we can adapt the material for an iPad if that's what you require. I've got about 300 hours of training materials that I've done over the years. I've been an instructor for the NAHB since 1989. And not only have I taught a variety of courses for them, I've contributed to 2 of the certification programs in the Institute of Residential Marketing, where I served as president in 2007, and also am the principal writer of the Advertising and Merchandising certification course for NAHB. Non-traditional stuff, what you're seeing here is a trade show display with 2 channels of closed-circuit television in it on the left. The CD that you see on the right was the accompanying piece for that display, and it was handed out, and the videos that they actually saw were on that CD. Of course, we do CDs for other people as well. We can do simple graphics, or we have gone to the high-definition 1080 video that we can also prepare programming in. One of the bigger points that we do since my son joined us about 2 years ago is the research capability that we have. The primary one there is the RESH report. RESH report allows us to look at various macro and microeconomic variables. We do this on a quarterly basis by subscription and provide it in Charleston, Columbia, and Greenville. And it's also available in some other markets. It just depends on which markets someone might like the research. What you see here is just some of the variables that we analyze, looking at market share by builders, and we do a complete analysis of all the deed transaction in the market on a quarterly basis. In addition to that, we look at some other demographic information. Joey, because by virtue of his econometric training when he worked on his doctorate in economics, does some modeling that allows us to make some predictions. In addition, we look at what's going on in the marketplace as far as the builder census is concerned, make some predictions about estimates about what's going to happen in the future. And we also have the capability of doing geo-sorting, so we can go in and use the geocoding to determine a target market, very, very small, very, very finite, based upon the client's direction. We can determine the psychographic and the demographic composition of any area that can be defined. Normally we do it in a drive time, say 5, 10, 15 minutes from the site, or we can do it in so many miles away from the site. Have a number of different variables, but we can do that at any place in the country. We also do a poll on a monthly basis that we survey about 5,000 people, primarily throughout the Southeast, that are involved in the housing industry, to get their feel for what's going on in the market and what their expectations are for the future. That's generally solicited from those 5,000 people, and that's constantly changing. And then we post it on our blog after we receive it. We tabulate it and let people see what the relative changes are in the marketplace. In addition, our blog disseminates other information that we collect as well. The way we work, we can go as finite as working out a pro forma budget for people, but normally what we do is to work out an annual communications plan. Do it on a spreadsheet, as you see here. Indicate by the projected closings what the revenues are going to be derived from the sales activity of a company, and then apply a percentage and allocate that to the various media sources depending upon the market in which we operate. Now, it's a little impractical to expect that we would have any degree of accuracy for a prediction 12 months into the future. So what we do is come back in, usually on a quarterly basis, and provide some sort of a written estimate in detail about what it is that we are recommending that needs to be done. And in concert with our client, we agree on what needs to be done and what will be done, and then go back and execute on that. In addition to the budget, we have a number of other documents that we use. There is a purchase authorization that we provide to the clients on a monthly basis, and that requires a signature to let us know that you approve of what it is that we're doing. We do paperwork on everything that we have, and this paperwork can be provided to the client if they request. Normally, the form that you see here on the top right is our job list, and we'll segment out those jobs and the status that's on our job sheet, and send that to the client if they prefer to have that every Monday morning, so they can take a look at what we're working on for them and what the status is when we expect to have a delivery. We maintain all of our stuff on a web-based scheduling process, so that regardless of where I am, I can change the schedule or manipulate the schedule, or just check the schedule to see what's going on. And if there are any changes, we have paperwork for that. If the client calls in with paperwork, we'll fill it out and send that along to the client as well. And there's a very important block in there that says billable or non-billable. Obviously, if we make mistakes, those are not billable. But if the client is making changes, those are billable charges. And when we send out the supplement, if there's a gray area, it creates a stimulus for us to check and make sure that we have our information correct. What we charge is 15% commission on media. That's usually rebated to us by the media, but not in every case. And also, in some cases, we can actually negotiate a cheaper rate than the commissionable rate, which we will do. We will negotiate the lowest rate possible, and by contract we'll stipulate that we will not charge any more than that 15% commission on media. Now, those things that we buy for you, sales center activity, print pieces, those kind of things, there is a 20% margin on those. We have a $75 base hourly rate. That rate is articulated in that fashion because pure consulting work where you're taking advantage of the intellectual capital we have will be billed at a higher rate. Administrative type work will be billed at a lower rate. It doesn't matter who's doing the work. If there's administrative tasks that need to be done, we're not going to charge $75 an hour for that. But that $75 gives you a perspective on what other people are charging and what the competitive pricing is in the marketplace. We have an annual contract that we require. We put minimums in there to keep the relationship going. Those are waived above a certain annual rate, but those details can be worked out. The important thing to realize is that everything is quoted in advance. There is a written authorization that we require before we begin work. This is how we derive those numbers, but you will know up front what it is that we're charging before we engage in the work. That's what we do. You can learn a little bit more about us by going to resh.com, which is our website. All of my personnel are on the web and have an email address that's easily accessed. You use their first name. Hal@resh.com is my email address, and I'll be glad to answer any questions that you have or provide any feedback that you may need. You can certainly call the office if you would like. It's 803-798-0009. But the website will give you the information, or a lot of information that you may need, and we invite you to visit that. And thank you for your attention.